Miami!
To mission control, we have liftoff.
Phinhub! Phinhub! We talking Dolphins City! Phinhub, Phinhub! Yeah! It's that Dolphin Show! Phinhub!
Welcome to the Phinhub Show, the one NFL podcast you can't leave off your roster. Now here's your host, Joey and Kevin Tejido.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Phinhub Show, powered by BetUS. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first deposit. That's YouTube150. Your next two deposits will be for 125% bonuses. So make sure to check out BetUS and get started betting today. So the Miami Dolphins received some pretty big news. Shaq Barrett could be returning for the Miami Dolphins this season. That's some great news because the Miami Dolphins have been lacking depth. Even though Chop Robinson has been on a tear of his own, we still haven't seen Bradley Chubb yet. Jaylen Phillips obviously goes down with that season-ending injury. So right now, we don't have a lot of push as far as edge rushers go, and I think that's going to be huge for the Miami Dolphins if he is officially eligible to return for us. Shaq Barrett could be a really good piece going forward and really help us with that playoff push.
Yeah, especially seeing that he has some fresh legs. He hasn't played the whole year. He doesn't have any like grueling injuries that he's going to come in with. If we decide to bring him back and he's on this squad, it's providing much needed depth. Alongside Chop, we've had Ogba out there. We've had Tyus Bowser. Other than that, we don't really have anything going on that edge other than Chop Robinson. Emmanuel Ogba has been serviceable. Very, very pleasant surprise, by the way.
Right.
I love the way he's playing, but still, if we can get a guy like Shaq Barrett, and if he can just be a shell of himself, back in the day, I think this is a much-needed boost to this defense. It's going to provide some much-needed pressure because other than Chop, no one's really getting to the quarterback. Even though I think Caesar's been fantastic, he has 4 sacks on the year. But it's a welcome surprise. I'm really happy that he decided to come back and he wants to play for the Dolphins. Does this kind of tell you where the Dolphins are at, like how everyone's viewing them? Because, I mean, for a guy to come back at this stage of the game, maybe he's excited to get in there and play for this team. You know what I'm saying? So what does it say about them?
Yeah, I think it's actually very interesting, and that was going to be my next point, my next take, something that we got to look into here. Why would Shaq Barrett return halfway through the season? And we got to look at what caused him to leave in the first place. It seemed like he didn't have love for the game anymore. And I remember watching a Kay Adams interview, and he said that a return to the NFL was highly unlikely. But if he did, he really hinted at the only way he'd return is to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So what really fueled Shaq Barrett into wanting to come back and play football, especially come back and play football for the Miami Dolphins? I think there's a few things to look at here. It would be the Dolphins are starting to get on this run. We're starting to look like a playoff team again.
Yeah.
It makes for an interesting season. And I think another big part of this is really looking at Calais Campbell and the way that he's been able to stay on the field and have a huge impact on defense. I think that is something that is going to stay on a lot of players late in their careers. It's going to stay on their mind and say, like, hey, if I find the right situation, I can still contribute in a big way. And I think Shaq Barrett is seeing that, and I think he wants a piece of the action now.
That's a really good point, actually, yeah. I maybe seeing Calais Campbell kind of drinking out of the fountain of youth, you know what I'm saying? And this guy basically playing at the same level he has his whole career. Shaq Barrett's probably looking at it like, hey, I can replicate that. Yeah. Maybe I can extend my career for another 2 or 3 years. Maybe I'll find the love for the game again. If I can continue maybe playing for this Dolphins team that's going on this, let's hope it's on a historic run, right, to make the playoffs, because it wasn't looking too pretty, but it looks like we got our gears going and we're getting there. So
yeah, the Dolphins are somewhat back on track. Of course, they're going to be going to Green Bay. There's quite a few narratives here that they're going to have to face. One of them being the Dolphins can't beat good teams. They're going to have to prove that against Green Bay. Green Bay is a very good team. And another one being that the Miami Dolphins and Tua cannot play in cold weather. Tua we just saw a graphic earlier Tua's 0-4 in games below 40 degrees. This game is supposed to be in the high 20s. So it's definitely going to be a cold one for Tua and the Dolphins. They're going to have to prove it now. And in order to make the playoffs this season, they're going to have to not only beat the Green Bay Packers, but they're going to have to go deep into the season and also face the Jets at some point in cold weather. So there's an opportunity now for the Miami Dolphins to continue this run, kill some narratives along the way, and get better as a football team heading towards the playoffs. I think it's going to be interesting. Let's see what we can do. I think running the ball is going to be very important for this team, and there seems to be like a few changes really in what we're doing with the running backs. Raheem Mostert has taken a step back on the roster. We've even seen him returning some kicks, which is pretty interesting. Devon Achane is by far the lead back. It's not even close. We have sprinkled in some Jaylen right there, so definitely now leaning on that youth in the running game, and I think that's an interesting decision to make. I don't know 100% if it's performance related, if it's injury related. Either way, I like what I'm seeing from our running backs. Last week wasn't the best performance we've had, but we're going to need the run game to be at full strength against Green Bay. We're going to have to run the ball heavily, and one of the biggest contributions could actually be not a running back, but Isaiah Wynn coming back at left guard. Still not clear if he's going to be a starter for that game. Either way, he's going to add some depth. What do you think about Isaiah Wynn coming back?
I think it'll be great to see him out there. Obviously, the best run blocker that we have on this team as far as the line goes. But if he could be out there with Alec Ingold, that's someone that we're forgetting as well. I know he returned for the Patriots game, but he barely played. Even Mike McDaniel's made a comment on it. And, when asked about that, he said it didn't seem necessary to play him so many snaps if we already had the game in control, which makes a lot of sense. You're kind of saving him for that Green Bay game. It's a different team when he's out there and he's a lead blocker, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, if Isaiah Wynn can come back and if he can play some snaps in that game, I think it's huge. And this is definitely a game that we need to run the ball. We need to be physical. It's cold. It's kind of hard to throw the ball out there. There's going to be, high winds. But don't you think where this offense is going, and in recent weeks, it's kind of more of like those short passes. It's kind of like we're prepared for this game more so than ever under Mike McDaniel, because this isn't what we had under his tenure. We've had these big plays. We've had if it's not deep, it's a bust. You know what I'm saying? So if we can rely on Jonnu Smith this game, if we can get some short passes to Tyreek, to Waddle, maybe squeeze in a long pass here and there. You know what I'm saying? It might happen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some busted coverage. I feel like now more so than ever, we're more prepared than we've ever been for these games. So I say bring it on. It's going to be a fun game. I think the Dolphins are ready mentally. I think they've hit such a low this season that they're on this high right now that it's like we don't want to lose this feeling. We're aggressive. Calais Campbell is a fantastic leader. I love hearing his sound bites. The guy looks like he gets anyone going. So I think we're ready. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not doing a score prediction. I'm not saying we're going to win this game, but I think we're the most ready we've ever been. So let's see.
From what I see from this offense in particular is I feel like we have matured. Going from last season, the 2 years before, really, we were this high-flying offense, deep bombs to Tyreek Hill, Jaylen, Waddle, and we've reeled it in. I do think that the NFL kind of figured something out about Mike McDaniel, and we saw the effects of that. Really, at the end of last season is when we started seeing the effects of that. And this year kind of started off a little bit slow too. But now we've picked it up in a way where we're running the ball a little bit better. We're doing these short passes, and we've integrated the tight end position. I think that's helped us out tremendously. Devon Achane obviously being an amazing weapon that we can run the ball and pass the ball to. So what I like is the maturity from this offense, not only in the play calling and the design of it, but also the mental aspect of it. You have a guy like Tyreek Hill, who was going for 2,000 yards last season, even in the summer, saying how 2K loading, he still had the idea of 2,000 yards in his head. But we've seen the mentality shift to a more mature aspect where all that matters is winning games. The stats don't matter. It matters to a lot of people in the media, and all we can do on the outside is speculate because someone's not getting the numbers they're used to that they must be upset. But by all accounts, it does seem that Tyreek Hill is okay, not getting the stats that he's used to getting. Jaylen Waddle, even not getting the stats that he's used to getting, even though he had an amazing game last week, and that was a sight for sore eyes because I was down on Waddle. Not because of his talent or anything, but he wasn't able to get mixed into the offense recently. So it was nice to see, but I really do like the maturity from everyone involved, knowing that, hey, the numbers don't matter. We just need to get these wins. We need to get to the playoffs, and we need to get this franchise back into that race. So I'm really happy to see that, and that's been one of the biggest takeaways that I've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and it's also about these guys buying in. You know, they've gotten the numbers. Tyreek's gotten the numbers. Waddle's gotten the numbers. Tua's gotten the numbers. I think at this point they know that winning is the most important thing at this stage in the game. I think Mike McDaniel came in with something to prove, like, hey, I can turn any offense into gold. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And now he's learning more so than ever. Like, dude, as a head coach, it doesn't matter what numbers you have. You just got to win. Right. Because, hey, it's looking like he was on the hot seat not too long ago. It was a few weeks ago. People were talking about the possibility of firing Mike McDaniel. Now he's getting these wins. It's kind of out the window, I think. I think McDaniel gets at least one more year, even if, you know, the season – I don't even want to say it, but whatever. But either way, I think a key factor in this game that we should talk about is Chop Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
Not only is he looking like one of the best rookies in the NFL right now, he's looking like one of the best edge defenders in the whole NFL. And something that I want to talk about that is going to help him in this game is that he comes from that Pac-12 conference, right. and he's used to the cold weather. So, I mean, this might be, you know, something that he suits up for, and he knows exactly what to expect, how his body reacts, how he can get to the quarterback. And this guy's on a tear, man. He looks like one of the best edge defenders in the NFL right now. Like, I mean, we're talking about like a Max Crosby type, Myles Garrett, like that dominant. You know what I'm saying? It's been the last 3 weeks. If we can go over the numbers. Do you have a comment before on Chop Robinson?
Well, I love that, what I've seen from Chop Robinson, and it's a lot like from what we've seen with Jalen Phillips, especially early on in his career, where he was he was pressuring the quarterback. Yeah. But he wasn't able to finish the job. And we know that if you can get the pressure, it's only a matter of time before the sacks start coming, and they start coming in bunches.
Yeah, they stack.
He's been on a tear, now has 3.5 sacks for the season. I've been really impressed with him so far, just pressuring the quarterback, just always there. And I'm really happy with what I've seen. Not too long ago, a lot of people had him as a potential bust. And Chris Greer, again, another pick, like we've seen with Cam Smith so far. Hopefully he's able to turn it around. But Cam Smith hasn't been a great pick either. So now you have Chop Robinson, who didn't start off the season hot, but now those pressures are starting to convert into sacks, real numbers. And it's a beautiful thing to watch, making game-changing plays. That's huge for this Dolphins defense. And I know Calais Campbell's happy to have him on his side too. So I'm really impressed with what he's done, and I'm looking forward to watching the defense play.
Yeah, not that these accolades really matter to us or should matter to us as Dolphins fans, but he is on Defensive Rookie of the Year watch right now. He's playing out of his mind. Jared Verse looked like he was, you know, one of the guys that was going to run away with that with 4.5 sacks on the year. Mm-hmm. Chop's right behind him with 3.5. I mean, he's right there, and his pass rush win rate is way better. He's constantly by the quarterback, so you already know he's going to get a few more. But yeah, if we go over some of the numbers, since week 8, he has 28 pressures, which is first in the NFL, 4 sacks, which is tied for 5th in the NFL, 21 hurries, which is first in the NFL, 26.1% win rate, first in the NFL, 128 pass rush snaps, 19th in the NFL. And he's been the #1 pass rusher in the NFL the last 3 weeks. So this is a guy that's catching fire at the right time. These are the games that we need to start stacking. And, you know, hey, we might have a star already in this guy, and someone that's going to be the difference maker, because we know without Jalen Phillips and without Bradley Chubb right now, it's been really hard to get to the quarterback. But this guy might turn it around, and with the addition of Shaq Barrett, you never know. Maybe he can, you know, drink a little bit of the same water that Calais Campbell's drinking and turn back the clock.
Yeah, that's going to be another big help to the edge. So I'm really excited to see this next game and how the Miami Dolphins react to this cold weather, playing against a good team in the Green Bay Packers with Jordyn Love at quarterback. It's an intriguing matchup. Thanksgiving night, beautiful football. It's going to be fun. I'm super excited. I just hope that the Dolphins can put together a complete game and shut up a lot of the narratives that they have on them. Hey, there's not much else we can say. It's going to be beautiful.
Keys to the game, just stop the run and get some runs in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's see. Hopefully we can get to the quarterback too on key downs. But I'm not going to say that we're going to win, but I like our chances more so than ever in cold weather, and I think we should maybe surprise some people. So
if you guys haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first deposit. That's YouTube150. Get started on BetUS today. But that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. If you haven't already, make sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Fins up.